It is true that Jesus had three trials, one in front of the Sanhedrin, that means the great council of the Jews, one in front of Pilate, and finally the last in front of King Herod. To understand the circumstances of these trials, there were actually three. We must remember the state of Israel at the time of the trial of Jesus, therefore around 30 of our era. The Romans' policy and military control dominate the region. They had been intelligent administrators. They asked that the tax be returned, but they leave the structures in place, those they found during the conquest. There was during the conquest a Jewish clergy who held the Temple of Jerusalem, which had imposed itself with arms facing the Greeks at the time of the Maccabees, therefore around 200 before Christ. So, since this had been a religious affair, as Jesus obviously is a religious man, it is the Sanhedrin, therefore, it is the council of priests who orchestrate his trials. They want Jesus dead. They want his death because he takes from their power over the crowds. He constantly ridicules them. He tells them of their four truths, and they have an absolutely merciless hatred against Jesus, and they will go all the way. Whoever the Jewish high priests do not have the right to put him to death. It is logical that the supreme power does not belong to them, and therefore it is the Roman Empire which maintained this power. Oh, they could have killed Jesus during a riot by stoning him, for example, after his preaching. But they tried that several times according to the gospel, but they never succeed. Each time Jesus split between their fingers. Result, they pronounce the death sentence, and as it is necessary to have him put to death, they deliver him to the Roman procurator, therefore the supreme chief, who is called Pilate. But Pilate himself was warned by his wife, a kind of dream that she had in the night earlier. His wife, who was called Claudia, according to the tradition, who said to him, "Do not meddle in the case of this man, as he is just a man." So he does everything within reason to avoid killing him. He does everything to get rid of the problem. He'll even wash his hands, but before washing his hands, he has an idea. He delivers Jesus to King Herod. King Herod is a king of Greek origin. We could say that finally, since at the time when the Romans conquered this land, there was still the domination of the Greeks. Herod was in power. He is not really Greek. He is not really Jewish. Whatever. Pilate sends Jesus to him. Herod is a decadent, completely decadent. So that in front of Jesus, he tries to make him to do magic tricks, and Jesus will not answer him. Herod sees that his efforts are useless, so Pilate will be forced to take over this trial, and so the Jews will manage to have Jesus condemned by saying to Pilate, "Our affair is not religious, it is political." Jesus proclaims himself King of the Jews. He says that tax should not be paid to Caesar. Therefore, indeed, it is an accusation of crime of lèse-majesté against the Roman emperor of the time. It is under the pressure of the crowd because the Roman authorities did not want a riot because they well know that these people are difficult to govern, that their position would also at stake, that ultimately they will accept that Jesus be condemned by doing everything to save him, by having him flogged so as not to destroy or kill Jesus, because Pilate thinks that the Jews will have pity for Jesus, and whoever these leaders of the Jews had no pity.